What is up, gamers and gamers? Today we are going to talk about some of my favorite game studios out there. And no, it isn't going to be just all PlayStation. The first one we're going to talk about is technically a twofer, but because these two studios is rich history and how they almost had this like symbiotic relationship at first, I'm going to make a special occasion just for them, just because I respect them both. And I think they both do amazing things, and I don't think anyone could deny the quality put out. Even if you don't like some of the games they put out, there's probably at least one game of theirs you like. So if that said, Naughty Dog and Insomniac Games. I don't think it's a secret that these two studios might have been the sole reason PlayStation is still around to this day. You could trace huge moments in PlayStation's history just by following Naughty Dog. This is why someone like Evan Wells-Levin is a big deal to me, because he was a part of that, illustrious original crew of Naughty Dog. He was part of this huge identity PlayStation had built up over the years through Naughty Dog and Insomniac. And you know what's actually particularly crazy is Insomniac wasn't originally a PlayStation Studios, under their umbrella. In fact, it wasn't until after 2018 Spider-Man came out, they were like, oh yeah, we're gonna buy Insomniac now. And Insomniac always kind of fluctuated around, but their home was always PlayStation. Just look at the IPs that these two studios have created alone. Crash Bandicoot, Spyro the Dragon, Jak and Daxter, freaking Ratchet and Clank, freaking Resistance, The Last of Us, Uncharted, and I'm pretty sure there's a couple ones I'm missing. But these IPs alone carry weight. If someone tomorrow said, TPG, did you know they're making a Resistance remake? I'd be like, how much is it, and where can I put down a pre-order? Like, when Insomniac and Naughty Dog put out a game, you know it's going to be something good. You know that even if you don't like it, in the case like The Last of Us Part 2, there is still stuff about it that's good. There's still a quality product there. You might not like the story, or you might not like certain gameplay elements, mostly Resistance 3, I'm talking about that one, but they still have things that are good. They still have things that can, if you were to, turn a blind eye to that one thing you didn't like, you could find something you do like. So, Naughty Dog and Insomniac, of course, I have to give them some respect. I gotta put some respect on that name, because you know what? These studios are, in my opinion, what leads to what I call the exclusive developers. Like, these are the top tier. These are the guys that I would consider to be almost quadruple A. When they put out a game, you know it's quality, and you know people are gonna buy it. TPG ain't no secret. He loves these guys. He thinks they do amazing work. And again, this is my list. This doesn't have to be something you agree with. If you don't like what I have to say, give me your own list. So the next studio we're gonna talk about might kind of catch you off guard, but I do like their games quite a bit. Now, I don't know actually how to technically call this one, because I don't think technically there's a studio, quote unquote, that works on these games. But, I gotta be real. I gotta be honest. I gotta keep it 100. The Legend of Zelda franchise has been good. There have been some duds, don't get me wrong. And I sure as hell, as a PlayStation fanboy, would like to point them all out and say they're all dookie and they're all poo-poo garbage and they're the worst thing. Why the hell are you guys buying this shit? I can't deny that Zelda has been good. Where if you're talking about Wind Waker, if you're talking about freaking Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Tears of the Kingdom, Breath of the Wild, Seasons, what was the Seasons of Ages and Seasons of something else, I forget, but it was the GBA two-parter, I guess technically, games. Zelda is a franchise that, while I am not a advocate player of, it's a franchise I respect from the back. Yeah, again, I don't know technically how you could call it. I guess I'll just use the general term Nintendo. And I think Nintendo does a good damn job with Zelda. I think when it comes to the Zelda franchise, they have been consistently at a very good level. They don't milk the shit out of it. They're like they do Mario or other franchises like Pokemon. Mostly because they want to keep Zelda as kind of like that hardcore gamer game. And yeah, I get why. It's pretty damn good. I also would technically put the Metroid developer in the same, category, especially like a game like Metroid Dread and the Prime series, and even like Super Metroid are pretty damn good too. But I guess technically it's Nintendo. Technically, I'm giving Nintendo props. They're damn good at what they do when it comes to those two franchises, at least. So, round of applause for Nintendo. They don't milk the shit out of these franchises. If anything, it feels like, at least in Metroid's case, they could probably do a little bit more with. Still waiting for Metroid Prime 4. But the next studio probably won't catch you off guard at all, especially if you know my taste in RPGs. And that, of course, is... Of course, the next one's going to be Obsidian. I mean, come on. Do you know me? Do you know one of my favorite RPGs of all time? A game I regularly play, even on this piece of crap laptop that I'm recording on right now, and I'm pushing myself to get through. Fallout New Vegas, baby! Fallout New Vegas! And then, not just Fallout New Vegas, but of course, we got South Park, The Stick of Truth, and even The Outer Worlds, to a certain degree, I actually liked. And you know what? Avowed looks pretty good. I'm going to say this right now. Obsidian might be the best at making games that are just critically loved, but man, they get screwed over. If you guys don't know, like, the history of like Fallout New Vegas alone, go look it up, because it's insane how this studio was basically told, yeah, okay, you can make a game, but you got 13 months to make it at best. And I would still say they did a better job with Fallout New Vegas than Bethesda did with 4 years of development compared to Obsidian's 13 months than they did with Fallout 4. Just, I love Obsidian's games. I love how they captured the spirit of South Park. I love how they captured the spirit of Fallout. They are really good at making these smaller level kind of games. They just, you got to put some respect on the name, man. I've said before, if Obsidian could get the old guys back and they could do a Fallout New Vegas 2 and be like the last run for old school Fallout, I buy it without a second guess. I buy that shit and I get an Xbox, I get a PC, whatever I could, just to play that game, because it's Fallout New Vegas, and I'm pretty sure that'll be a game 20 years from now I could still be playing. So, yeah, Obsidian, you gotta put some respect on that name, okay? Just... you gotta show some respect. Now the next studio, I don't know how to say their name. Ryu Gusiku. I don't know how to say this. I'm just gonna say the Yakuza developers, because you know what? I am someone who didn't start off on the best terms with the Yakuza franchise. I started with Dead Souls. I was like, holy shit, this game is not very good. But then I played Yakuza 0. I was like, holy shit. I think I found Japan's Naughty Dog. And that might sound like a crazy sentence to say out loud just from one game. But then Yakuza Kiwami 1 and Kiwami 2, Yakuza 6. And I was like, okay, they did a really good job. Yeah, I know I skipped 3, 4, and 5, but at the same time, 6 kind of filled in the gap. Like, it told you what happened in between. So I was like, I didn't really miss out on anything. And from what I heard, those actually were some of the more, not the best in the franchise. And then we have this, I guess you would say samurai kind of spin-off version. Then you have Judgment. And then you have, the new Yakuza, a man who erased his name, which they hire Yong Yin for to be the English voice actor for Kazuma Kiryu, which is crazy. Like, there's just to think, like, the Yakuza franchise is this big, and this studio, I don't think they've been stretched thin. I think this is a studio that knows how to properly, put the assets where they need to be. Yes, they use the same formula. Yes, they make a certain type of game. But you know what? I'd rather a studio be the master at their craft than make something for everyone and just, be mediocre at best. Looking at you, Square Enix. Yeah. So, in my opinion, the Yakuza developers are really damn good at what they do. In fact, I'm shocked that most people don't talk about the Yakuza franchise. You guys need to play the Yakuza series. Go play the Yakuza series. It's a very well done series of games. While, yes, some of them are definitely better than others, Zero, in my opinion, is like better than Kiwami 2. They still, even like their most meh ones, are still better than some of the most meh games that get put out by Square Enix, by freaking, Midsoft, I'm sorry, Ubisoft, or WB Games, or as I like to call it. We like to milk the shit out of our DC franchise, but not the ones you want. So, yeah, Yakuza developers, mad respect. And I got one more studio to talk about, and this one, I don't know how to technically cover this one, mostly because technically it is a PlayStation Studio game, the sub studio, but at the same time, the way they've talked about it, they said that technically it's like its own separate entity. I don't know, but you guys probably already know by this one. You know who's going to be. You knew I had to talk about Bungie. I mean, come on. How can I not talk about Bungie and the history that this development studio has? Halo. Do I need anything else? Halo. Destiny. While Destiny 2 has been a bit of a mess, still, fundamentally, gameplay, still really good. And nostalgia. I'm sorry, man. I have too many nostalgic memories of Halo, from Halo 1. And the first time my dad's cousin freaking showed us an Xbox and he was playing Halo Combat Evolved. All the way to Halo Reach, which I still think is the best in the Halo series when it comes to story. I still think the DMR is still one of the most iconic guns ever. I love the story of the original Halo run. The Bungie Halo to me is the peak of first-person shooters. It's the peak of FPS. Everything after has just been under. It's been under. And I know some people think Call of Duty, fuck Call of Duty. Call of Duty is for a bunch of scrubs. It's for a bunch of casuals who don't know how to play a real fucking game. This game didn't have loadouts except for Halo Reach, which we don't talk about that because that was sad. Halo 3, you actually had to be good at the game. You actually had to learn to get good at the game. And then you have stuff like Forge, where people were creating entirely new maps and entirely new game modes. Machinima, freaking Red versus Blue, just the legacy Bungie has alone from Halo is insane. And Destiny, while not being as good as Halo, let's just be honest, the fundamental gameplay is still good. I still think there's parts of the lore in Destiny that are actually really interesting. I do like how this is a very expansive world, and there's much more that you could do. This could be one of those live service games that could go on for 10 more years, but they probably won't. They'll probably make something else. Oh yeah, and let's not forget the fact that you're making Marathon a game for PlayStation and Xbox, even though they're owned by PlayStation. So even then, PlayStation still respects the legacy that freaking Bungie has with Microsoft, and this isn't good to deprive them of a game. Also probably because this game was in development before, Sony bought them. But still, I respect the hell out of Bungie. And with that said, folks, that is my favorite studios out there as far as, big game studios. There's probably a couple more I can mention later down the road. But what are your guys' favorite game studios? What IPs do you, love? What studios do you love the most? And let me know in the comments section. Until next time, guys, this is That PlayStation Gamer signing out. Don't forget to, like, comment, subscribe on our YouTube algorithm BS. I hope y'all have a good day, good night, good evening, whatever time you're watching this video. I gotta go play some freaking Last of Us Part 1, because why the hell not? 20th time, 30th time, 50th time, doesn't matter. Still a good game. We all have that one game we go back and play, even though we've probably mastered it at this point. Peace out.